Just a couple of days ago, Kosovo celebrated its first double-digit birthday. So we turned 10, 17th of February, which makes us actually 2 years younger than Twitter. We declared our independence in 2008, whereas late 2006 and early 2007, the world started to experience something completely new. That was the digital reality, the digital platforms, the digital world, social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. So we were the next best thing that happened to the world. I have experienced, from my own experience in this last 10 years, I can say that digital diplomacy is as important as any other pillar of diplomacy. What I have witnessed in the last 10 years is that a citizen with a good tweet can make a difference, actually can make more of a difference than me giving a speech at the United Nations. I have seen also that arts and sports manages to transcend boundaries that are imposed by politics. A couple of days ago, we also Brit Awards. I don't know whether you follow British music, but do you know who won the best female? A Kosovar, a young girl from Kosovo, originally from Kosovo. And what she did for Kosovo, just being there at that stage, is far more impactful than a speech given by our president. Last year, no, actually now almost 2 years ago, we managed to participate for the first time in the Olympics. For the first time, we had our flag alongside the free nations of the world. For the first time, we had the chance to compete. And we won a golden medal in judo. It was won by a girl. So you never say you fight like a girl in Kosovo, because you will end up being beaten up. We've seen also the same enthusiasm with our young artists. We had our first Oscar nomination last year. We didn't win the Oscar, by the way, but I am very hopeful that will soon follow. Throughout the centuries, nations had been established in either in battlefields or through negotiations. But with young states like Kosovo is, we have realized that that's only half of the story. Being recognized by Facebook, Google, Amazon is as important. You know, when we were recognized by, let's say, Germany, it was not a headline. When we were recognized by Facebook, it was a front page in New York Times. So this is how important the social media, cultural diplomacy, arts, sports is for a small and young country like Kosovo is. We have seen also in this last 10 years that peace and independence are not self-sufficient. They are not solitary concerns. Once you're free and independent, you realize that survivor is not the only worry. You need schools to build, you need laws to adopt, institutions to establish, but you also want to make sure you have a seat around the table. Unfortunately, Kosovo is still not a UN member. That is because of the Russian veto at the Security Council. And this has made our international integration, our international subjectivity, a very sui generis platform. Now, for all the skeptics out there, the International Court of Justice ruled in 2009 that Kosovo's independence was in full compliance with the international law, that our independence is not a product of a secessionist movement, but it's a product of unconsensual dissolution of Yugoslavia. Many of you might have heard about the horrors of the wars in Kosovo. 18 years ago, I was a refugee. I didn't have a home. I didn't have a dress. I was separated from everything I knew and loved. But here I am today. So Kosovo's story is a story of survival, perseverance. We know we have a long way to go. There's still, the unemployment rate is high. There's still much more that needs to be done to combat crime and corruption. But we know that what we have left behind and the challenges we have already overcome are far bigger and greater than the ones that are ahead of us. We are also blessed to be placed in a very, very diverse region. As my colleague from Macedonia pointed out, it is where the East and West meet, culturally, politically, geopolitically. And this has made our part of the world a very, very unique place. In Kosovo, you will see churches and mosques sharing the same yard. I grew up celebrating all kinds of religions, holidays. Frankly speaking, for me, it was just another day off school. So we grew up loving the diversity. Kosovo is predominantly Muslim, but we gave the world one of the greatest saints. Mother Teresa is originally from Kosovo. So we've been blessed with diversity. We've been blessed with multiculturalism. So European Union will not be a news to us. But what we need to do and what we need to learn as a region is we need to learn to live at peace with one another. I hope that not far from today, I will be able to share the stage with my colleague from Serbia. You know, we cannot change history. We cannot change geography, blessed or doomed. We will be living next to each other for the rest of times. But we can change the life of the future generations. While there's still a lot of differences, there's one common denominator in the entire region, and that's the desire to join the European Union. And this is not about vanity. It's not about joining a VIP club. For us, it's existential. For us in Kosovo, first and foremost, it will mean that no neighbor ever again is going to use force to impose politics. And of course, we want to be able to join NATO as Kosovo. It is true what you said. I wouldn't be here today if there were no NATO intervention in Kosovo. So we're looking forward to the day when the whole region will be sharing a chair at the European Union. It is true, EU is still a union under construction. We still cannot say that EU has fully managed to establish a cohesive foreign policy, not only vis-à-vis Kosovo, but look at the migration or Euro, or, I mean, there's still a lot that Europe needs to do, because for a while there was a debate whether widening or deepening should be the priority. So while EU has managed to expand, I don't know how much they've managed to consolidate, to deepen their structures. So I'm looking forward to a day when Europe will be able to speak with one voice, not only for Kosovo, but also for Georgia and for the countries in the neighborhood. And when we will be sharing wine, you know, we have a very good wine, by the way. You know, there's one thing we in the Balkans argue is Who's been there the longest? We claim we've been there the longest. Everybody claims they've been there the longest. Who has the best wine? We also claim we have the best wine and the oldest wine. And then we have another liquor, raki, which is, I mean, wine tastes like a tea compared to raki. It's very, very heavy. And once you have it, you will understand why we fight so much. But then we have so much in common. I was looking at the videos, and I don't know who, it could have been from Kosovo. I don't know whether it was Georgia or Bulgaria or Croatia or Montenegro or Macedonia, I don't know, but you have the same beautiful landscape, same beautiful traditions, same beautiful culture, and same wonderful people. So thank you very much, and I will gladly take your questions. First of all, I'm surprised that UN has indexed Kosovo in a report about new states, since they don't recognize Kosovo. And I haven't seen the report, so but that's a good step. If Well, yes. First on electricity, Kosovo does not import from 90% from Serbia. Actually, we just signed a very major contract to build a new power plant in Kosovo. It's going to be over $1 billion investment. Secondly, Kosovo is not a paradise. You know, I never intended to project Kosovo as a perfect place. We still do have a lot of challenges, but the challenges Kosovo faces are shared throughout the region. You have the same challenges in Macedonia, Montenegro, Albania, etc. So Kosovo does not stand out, although it's a very, very young country. Let me illustrate it to you. 10 years ago, when I was appointed Deputy Foreign Minister, I didn't even have a chair. You know, I just had a title. They came to me, they told me, okay, you're the Deputy Foreign Minister. We had to build everything from the scratch. So for a state building, 10 years is not a very, very long period of time. Of course, I would have loved to see more progress, but I must say I'm hopeful with everything we've managed to achieve. On the Bosnia, I don't quite understand why, but are you bringing on the subject. You know, can you be more specific? Because
Because in Bosnia and Herzegovina, there are many ethnic groups.
yes.
They look at Kosovo and they say, well, we would also like to be the Serbs, for instance, and we also want to be independent. They look at Kosovo as an example, and this is scary for the government of Bosnia and Herzegovina, but sometimes has been used by Albania to put pressure.
By Albania?
Albania has some relation with your people.
We are ethnic Albanians, yes.
And there is more link to Albania than the others, as you are a Muslim country also.
Just to give you a picture, 90% of the population in Kosovo is ethnic Albanian. But Kosovo is also the only country in the Western Balkans surrounded by Albanians. So we have Albania, then in the Western Macedonia you have Albanians that live, but we have managed to establish very good neighborly relations with Macedonia, with Albania, with Montenegro. The only problematic neighbor, so to say, is Serbia. And if there is a threat for the dissolution of Bosnia, that does not come from Kosovo. You know, that comes from Belgrade. And to a very large extent, that comes from the increased Russian influence in the region. I dare say that the president of Republika Srpska today is more under Russian influence than under Belgrade's influence, so to say. And this is all a very public data, and I'm sure my colleague from Bulgaria can attest to what I'm saying. But there is no correlation between Kosovo and Republika Srpska whatsoever. Republika Srpska is a product of genocide. Serbia committed genocide in Bosnia, and that's how Republika Srpska was created. So there's absolutely no comparison whatsoever.
I have only 1 minute. Very inspiring from your speech.
Thank you.
1999, from Eastern, Jose Ramos Sultan.
Yes.
He was same way. He became president and prime minister. Very inspiring speech. Very inspiring. I'm doing the same kind of work in Pakistan. People in Pakistan and one countries now, Sindhi people are same way doing the same thing. Really, very, very inspiring.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador.
Thank you. It was a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Interesting
Thank
speech,
you very
and
much.
I can only echo and confirm what Ambassador just said. It's a very dangerous comparison of part of Bosnia and Herzegovina, namely Republika Srpska and Kosovo. As Madam Ambassador pointed very correctly, recognition of Kosovo came based on the old Yugoslav constitution. The same like with the rest of the
Former
republics that created Yugoslavia. Creation of Republika Srpska happened through the, I'm not entering how the war happened, but happened through the wrong implementation and wrong interpretation of Dayton peace agreement, and I dare to say that because I was head of Croatian delegation, I was in a Dayton, and I know what was meant and what is written in the Dayton agreement. So no comparison. It's very dangerous. Also, what is dangerous in a region, but in the world, we were reflecting all here also on the history, and I immediately recognize Albanian nation is much older than Croatian nation in that part of the world. Albanian is actually a very old nation. Kosovo is very young state. I would like to compete about the wine, but about the history, no. However, our problem in that part of the world is really how to separate history from the today life and from the future. And that is really the biggest problem that Kosovo has in this moment. Because the reasons, when you discuss with our moderate, let's say, Serbian friends, the reasons for the problems with Kosovo lays deep in a history, not in a tomorrow. Yesterday we had a couple of very, very nice presentations, starting from Professor Brenner. If we can build empathy as a cognitive category, then that is behind, or particularly when George Mitchell was talking about common interest. Problem for us was always the common interest comes in the future. but we are the nations that also lived in a history. And nobody can separate that. Georgia is very proud on its history. Croatia is proud of the history. Serbia is very proud on the history, and Kosovo or Albanians are proud of the history. And the problem is when you start to mix history and the future. Our common interest is in the future, regardless how history was happening. Unfortunately, and on that I totally agree with Madam Ambassador, in this moment it is the fact that our Serbian neighbors, they are still bringing history in today's life. Even not with the Kosovo, it's the most extreme case, but also with Croatia, with Bosnia and Herzegovina, and they are very much supported by their historical friends and allies, and that is Russia. I tend to think, as a diplomat thinking about that world, that Russia has interest in doing that. But I don't see what interest has Serbia in doing that, because I do think it's not up to me to tell to Serbians what they want to see, to do, but I do think that their interest is European Union, NATO, but in order to achieve that, they have to start to look into future. And Kosovo is really doing that, so Madam Ambassador, once again,
Thank you very much.
for
Thank you very
bringing
much. Thank you.